Nice to have all you guys online. Sorry, I included you in that, Frank.
I took it as a compliment.
Oh, whoops.
Where are you, Frank Oakville?
There's a hot mic here for sure.
No,
Are you
Steve,
in Oakville, Frank?
I'm still in Florida. I'll be back
Oh, okay,
back in Oakville on Monday, a week from today.
good.
Okay. Are we, you can start her up anytime there. If I can get you guys to shut your mics off now,
Yep.
that would be great. We're good? All right. Got to do this 3 times for Steve. All right. Call to order the Port Management Committee meeting Monday, April 20th is the date. First item or second item on our agenda is the approval of the agenda. And that is that committee approves the agenda as presented. Moved by Councillor Martel and seconded by, I almost did it. Seconded by Councillor Smale. Discussion at all on the agenda? Okay, all in favor? Good. All right. Disclosure of pecuniary interest, conflict of interest, and the general nature thereof. Does anyone have a pecuniary interest? Okay, hearing none. Before I go to delegations and presentations, I do want to recognize that Frank McCauley, committee member, is online. Chris Ward is online. Councillor Chris Ward, sorry, Chris, is online, and Deputy Mayor Dillabaugh is online as well. And I think, who do we have regret? Do we have regrets from Clint or no? No? Okay, so maybe he's just running late. So the next item on our agenda under delegations and presentations, our first will be a recognition. So come on up, Steve. Come on out in front of us. Oh, come on out in front. Come on. All right, Steve. All right. So thank you. And this is for 35 years of outstanding service, tireless effort, and ongoing support for the Port of Johnstown and the municipality and their goals. Congratulations on a fantastic and well-deserved retirement.
Well,
Congratulations, Steve.
I know Leslie has some words that she wants to say, and then I'm gonna do it.
okay.
So I'm gonna at this point.
Okay. Thank you. So I'm a little bit of a wordsmith, so I have a little bit of a dialogue here. So I want to start with a bit of a time capsule. Brian Mulrooney was leading the country. Bob Rae was Premier of Ontario. Joyride by Roxette was on the radio. Dallas aired its second longest running finale. The Pittsburgh Penguins won the Stanley Cup. The goods and services tax came into effect, and Backdraft was playing in the theaters. And here at home, the St. Lawrence Seaway Corridor was doing what it has always done, quietly powering our economy through changing times. So what's the common thread? That was all happening on May 4th, 1991. Steve Reed's first day at the Port of Johnstown. 35 years later, it's safe to say Steve has outlasted most of those headlines. Born and raised in Johnstown, there's truly no one who knows the port, its history, its people, its stories quite like Steve. Whether you know him as Dad, Fireball, or Stephen L. Reed, one thing is certain, there is absolutely no one like him. And yes, Steve, you are not replaceable. Steve is a man of simple joys and great stories, a love of antiques and old machinery, a good trip to the scrapyard, endless stories about Gary and the farm, gardening, canning, and always, always a well-timed joke. He appreciates a warm office and has somehow mastered the rare skill of catching a quick cat nap standing up. Since I arrived at the port in October 2024, Steve has been nothing but generous with his time, his knowledge, his photos, his ideas, and his deep understanding of this place. He has been steady, supportive, and always willing to share what he knows. We've also discovered a few things in common: a love of family, cats, and of course, sweets. Steve, on behalf of the Port of Johnstown, past and present staff, and the entire community, thank you. Thank you for your 35 years of dedication. Thank you for the knowledge you've passed on. and thank you for helping shape the port into what it is today. We wish you all the very best in your next chapter, one that we hope includes plenty of time for antiques, gardening, storytelling, and maybe just a few well-earned naps. Congratulations, Steve.
Congratulations, Steve.
Can't find it, but
It's-
my old pay stub.
Yeah.
actually started the year before.
Oh, in 1990?
Yeah. Elder's Green. But I can't find the pay stub. I've been going through dresser drawers. But I do have one somewhere, like because I was at the time I was laid off, so from a job or got canned because I had an accident with a company truck. And they said I'd never work again in the area, which I knew was bullshit, but anyways. And so I was at home and Johnny Horn called me up and he says, I need a good man to come work for me. Do you want to come try it? I said, I'll come try it out. So I've been there since.
Amazing.
Pay stub bill, you could have brought the first dollar because I heard you still have it.
I don't have any trouble spending dollars. I want to come over there to do the picture.
Okay.
Just so that Chris and Frank have an opportunity to be, and Steve have an opportunity to be in the Buffalo Sabres have an opportunity to be in the picture as well. So, and you guys have, if you feel,
Okay,
yeah,
sure.
right?
I think I saw your dog walk by, Frank.
Quite likely. While everyone's getting organized, I'd also like to just congratulate, compliment, and thank Steve for the fact that over my time on the committee, he's been a frequent guest. It just shows his commitment to the port, his interest in the port. He's been a positive contributor in terms of the questions he's asked and the information he's provided. And I've certainly appreciated that and wanted to thank Steve for that as well.
All right. Well, I'd rather keep recognizing Steve than moving on to Jamie, but no offense meant either, Jamie. All right, so moving on to item 4B, which is Jamie Pollock from MNP LLP for the 2025 financial statements. Jamie, the podium is yours if you just turn the mic on. We normally try to keep the presentations to 10 minutes, but I mean, we're pretty open with time on this. So
I'll try to keep it under 10 minutes. Well, members of committee and administration, thank you very much for having me tonight. My name is Jamie Pollock. I'm a chartered professional accountant and partner with MNP, and I'm happy to be here to go through the draft financial statements and our audit finance report addressed to the Port Management Committee. As I go through the financial statements, if there's any questions or concerns at any time, please stop me and I'll be more than happy to answer your questions or concerns. I'm just going to do a brief high-level overview. But like I said, if there's any questions or I miss anything, please stop me. I'm going to go through the financial statements first, and I'd like to start with our independent auditor's report. It is in draft format, and it's in draft until those charged with governance, which will be ultimately the council who accept these financial statements, that we will issue our auditor's report. But you'll see it's in draft, but we are in the position to issue a clean audit opinion. And that kind of states in the second paragraph in the independent auditor's report, which states, in our opinion, the accompanying financial statement presents fairly in all material respects the financial position of the port as of December 31st, 2025, and the results of its operations, changes in net financial assets, and its cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with Canadian public sector accounting standards. So it's a clean audit opinion, and that's what you want to hear from us as your auditors. If we kind of skip to the statement of operations, which is about 3 pages later, indicated as page 2 in the report, this is your income statement for the year. And I'm just going to start kind of at the bottom, working our way back up. So the fourth last line is your annual surplus. And this is a surplus that's recognized under Public Sector Accounting Board. In the middle column, you see your surplus for the year is $1.6 million compared to a budgeted amount of $4 million or $4.7 million the previous year. While it's much lower, it is still quite positive, and you need to remember that. As we go kind of right up to the top, and there's one main factor that's driving the results for the year, and that's good old Mother Nature. So we heard in the community, and I have relatives who are farmers and neighbors and friends, the yield just wasn't there this year. And then without the yield being a very light year and it wasn't really a wet fall, well, your revenues have been impacted because of that, because of the less tonnage. So when you look at your revenues for the year in the middle column, the total was 10.2 million and you budgeted for 11.4 million, almost a 10% drop. However, your expenses also went down by 4.5% for a total of 7.1 million compared to a budget of 7.4. So an overall net revenue before other items, $3.1 million. The other items you will see is more non-cash items such as amortization of deferred capital contributions and amortization of tangible capital assets. So when you include those charges of 1.5 million, it brings down to your annual surplus of 1.6. You will see the previous year you had a surplus of 4.7 million, and according to your policies and a committee decision, you'll see a line called distribution of income 2 lines down. And that's basically the dividends that the port had issued back up to the municipality in the year of $2.2 million, which is really a reflection of the previous year's net income. So it closed your year with accumulated surplus of $56.5 million, or a small decrease by 169,000. If we go back one page, this is your statement of financial position or your balance sheet. And it is at a particular point in time, so things would have changed since then. But if you look at your total financial assets, your total was 13.2 million compared to 15 million from the previous year, a decrease of 1.8 million. A combination of a decreased accounts receivable, which means you collected cash of 790,000, and your cash and short-term investments totaling 12.5 million was decreased by $1 million. But that decrease is not a negative, as I will explain further. Part of the decrease was used to pay down your outstanding liabilities from the previous year. You'll see your liabilities was 1.1 million. That was down by 663,000, which you used the cash from your collection of accounts receivable to pay down that accounts payable. Long-term debt and other line item went down by your normal debt payments in the year of $91,000. So your overall net financial assets was 8.8 million, a decrease of 1.1 million. So when you look at that 1.1 million, we had your net income before other items. 3.1 million. You take off the dividends, 2.2, which went back to the municipality. And you'll see there was purchase capital assets in the year of over just $2 million as well. And that's not really an expense, that's really a reinvestment back into your infrastructure. So when you take out the dividends and the capital assets, that's why your cash and short-term investments went down during the year by $1 million. When you look at your net financial assets, your tangible capital assets is 76.3 million, which is all your tangible capital assets less accumulated costs recorded for accounting purposes, and less the deferred contributions, which are funds that you receive from the federal government over the years of $29 million on amortized balance. So your closing accumulated surplus is 56.5 million compared to 57 million the previous year. So looking at your statement of financial position, you're still in a very good financial shape because of the use of the funds that you had from the net income before other items. If we kind of turn to page 3, the statement of changes in net financial assets, and it basically kind of summarized what I just talked about. If we took your annual surplus of 1.6, we add back the non-cash items, you'll see the deduction for the distribution of income, 2.2, and then you see the acquisition of tangible capital assets, which is the middle column on this page of just over 2 million, leads to your overall decrease in net financial assets for the year of 1.1 million for a closing balance of 8.8 million. Page 4, which is your statement of cash flows. When you look at the top part, the whole statement of changes in working capital accounts or your cash flow from operating activities, 3.1 million compared to 6.7 million. But that cash flow from operations was used as you go down to pay for the dividends of 2.2 million and the purchase of tangible capital assets of 2,004,000 as well. You had some net change in your investing activities of 813,000 positive, which just means cash came in to help pay for the tangible capital assets. So overall decrease in cash resources of 343,000, similar to the previous year, but most of those funds were used for the purchase of tangible capital assets, being a reinvestment in your infrastructure. Looking at the next page, which is your statement of tangible capital assets, just looking at the last 2 columns, you will see your purchases for the year, as indicated, 2.4 million, which was taken previously a lot of your assets under construction from the end of the previous year of 3.1 and being completed and put it into service, mainly under equipment and buildings. The previous year purchases was 9.7 million. Accumulated amortization this year was $2 million to have a closing balance of 15.5 million. So when you look at your net book value of your tangible capital assets of 76 million compared to your total cost of $91 million, that represents 83% of your remaining life of those assets. So what that indicates to me as your auditor, that you really have only used 1/5 of your useful life of those assets. And that's mainly because of the reinvestment that you've put back into the assets over the last 25 years once you took the port over from the federal government, that the funds are always being reinvested and you still have a long useful life of those assets in place. And we turn to page 6 with schedules 2 and 3, which shows the schedule of accumulated surplus. When you hear 56.5 million, that doesn't mean that you have cash available of 56.5 million ready to spend. It's broken down into 2 main parts. One is your operating surplus, which is 12.2 million compared to 13.4 million. That's down by 1.6, and that's mainly because of the accumulated the dividends that was issued back up to the municipality in the year. And the rest is what's invested in your tangible capital assets, 14.2 million. You have the costs net book value of 76 million, less the deferred contributions, asset retirement obligations, and debt that goes against those tangible capital assets. The next part is just shows the change in accumulated surplus. Overall, you started the year at 57 million. You had your surplus of 1.6, and then your distribution of income of 2.2 million. So overall, from an accounting point of view, or if you have an operating surplus for the year, I would say it's about $900,000 before changes in invested capital assets, because the most of the decrease in the operating surplus was due to the distribution of prior year's income or the dividends. So overall, as I indicated, the financial statements, you had a very good year, regardless what Mother Nature provided to you. You had an overall surplus of 1.6 million before other items, or after other items. Before other items was 3.2 million. Those funds was put in to help pay down the accounts payable and to distribute dividends back up to the municipality, as being the main and solely not really a shareholder, but owner of the Port of Johnstown. So those are the financial results and the financial statements for the year ended December 31st, 2025.
Thanks, Jamie. If you just stay there, there may be some questions. So look up to the screen first. You guys have any questions for Jamie regarding the audit? Comments? No, nothing.
Mr. Mayor, it's
Frank, yeah.
it's a comment as opposed to a question, and nothing in those financial statements surprises us because we saw that happen during 2025. But if I was in the financial sector, as I used to be, and I looked at those financial statements quickly, I'd say revenue went down, net income went down, cash flow declined, liquidity declined, and our dividends exceeded our annual surplus. We're still in a good financial position, but you'd never want that trend to continue. So we just need to be conscious going forward 2026, and we've had a challenging start to 2026, but we need to be very careful that what happened in 2025 doesn't somehow become a trend line for us. That's all.
Yep. 100% agree, Frank. No. No. Anything? No. I think I'm good too.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I just
Thanks, Jamie.
would go quickly through my audit finance report, and
Sure.
really there's no findings to be brought to your attention. You know, we don't have any management recommendation points to bring issue to this year. Just going through on page 2, there was no deviation from our audit service plan that was previously presented to you. Our final materiality used for the audit is a term that we use as auditors, was $450,000. It's less than the previous year only because your expenses was down. While our audit cannot be relied upon to detect all incidents of fraud, no incidents of fraud or suspected fraud came to our attention during the course of our audit. Nothing has come to our attention that would suggest any non-compliance with laws and regulations that would have a material effect on the financial statements. No significant matters arose during the course of our audit in connection with related parties, except for, of course, the distribution of the prior year income of $2.2 million going up to the municipality. Your accounting estimates, accounting practices and policies are all in line with Public Sector Accounting Board, which you expect to be. All disclosures have been made in accordance with PSAS. While our review of controls was not sufficient to express an opinion to their effectiveness or efficiency, no significant deficiencies in internal control have come to our attention. Our management letter, if any, will outline any additional observations, which we don't have any, and no other significant matters was discussed subject to correspondence that need to be brought to your attention. We have always the same significant risk areas in response, only because you have a very small accounting department with the Port of Prescott, so we always have a concern over management override of internal controls. We do our due diligence of audit testing, specifically with journal entries, and nothing's came to our attention that anything is out of the norm. And we always look at the cutoff of revenue because that determines your, not a lot, but your surplus or deficit for the year. And there was no issue raised based on our additional cutoff testing that we do to make sure we have a high degree of comfort over those revenues. We have our independent auditors report declaring that we are independent of the port, and there was no significant adjustments that were proposed to management that has not been recorded in these financial statements to the 2025 statements. So that's overall my report. Everything is in good financial shape. We're prepared to issue a clean audit opinion. And I'd like to say a big thanks to Leslie and Rhonda and Sean and Jessica for their assistance during the course of the audit. And that is my report to you, Mr. Mayor, and committees, members of committee.
Thank you. Thank you, Jamie. Does anyone have any further comment at all for Jamie? No? Going around. Okay. So I'm going to repeat maybe a couple of the things that you said. I don't really have, I don't think any questions in this, but just more a couple of points. So, sort of the perfect storm, right? A severe drought, one of the worst years that, agriculturally you could possibly have, reduced yields, unpredictable markets. And yet with those pressures, we still managed to, the port staff and committee managed to make sure that there was still a $1.65 million surplus that was there. And that's on top of the 2.2 that came in as an extra dividend to the township. So in one of the worst years, you still have over $10 million on hand in cash. I would say that the port's demonstrated a remarkable resilience and financial strength due to, the investments that have been made over many, many years, that it could withstand probably, one of the worst case scenarios in terms of what we had predicted for budget versus what we actually returned. So, we're receiving a clean, unmodified audit opinion.
That's correct.
No, you cited zero concerns, no concerns.
That is correct.
No deficiencies or compliance issues. Our debt continues to decline.
Correct.
Our investment income increased.
Yes.
That helps offset, that down put in the grain. I think the grain was down 1.2, but that still came through pretty well. So I would say even in a year where the agricultural sector as a whole, struggled, the port sort of held its ground and sort of, I would say, it delivered quite a sound and solid financial result for the year that we saw. Had we delivered on the budget even with the 2.2, there still would have been a $4 million surplus is what the prediction was. We just didn't hit that. And like what Frank said, the beginning of 2026, it hasn't hit the mark that we want it to hit as of yet, and I do find concern in that, and we have to make sure that we manage that and monitor that closely. But I would say, the positives in that are that from what I can see is there's multiple salt vessels that are booked. And I think that there's maybe a grain vessel that's been in or is coming in. Rail movements are increasing. We got a load of steel on the docks again already. And the fields are recharged. We're talking about floods now instead of drought conditions. So, the water, I know from South Nation Conservation, the aquifer has been fully recharged. So we have no reason to suspect that we wouldn't achieve a normal or what we had been seeing above normal yields. I think our capital projects have been moving along and they're completing ahead of schedule as well. So we should have a good, efficient year, and we should in 2026 be able to continue what we had pre the drought year. So I understand exactly what you're saying and what Frank had said as well. But I think that we positioned ourselves and we are certainly resilient and we are ready for the challenges ahead. So
Yeah,
Good.
just Well, I was just going to say, you can definitely tell that based on the drop in the revenue, your management team kind of monitor the expenses and really kind of, reduce the cost that incurred, so you didn't end up spending what you fully budgeted on. And same with your purchase of tangible capital assets, it was about half of what you budgeted for in 25. So you basically monitor your cash flow effectively, so it didn't put an overall strain on your statement of financial position.
Yeah, we need to do that again this year too.
Yeah. Mr. Mayor, sorry.
Yes, Chris.
Yeah, sorry. I think it's also worth noting. I mean, I know the way the process worked, it was the reserves that were pulled out, the $2.2 million was based on the prior year's profit, if you will, at the end of the year, and it was pulled early in the year, if I'm not mistaken, right? I think it was problem is, of course, you can't especially in this business, forecast what happens as far as the weather's going to do, and we hadn't seen any bad years of weather, and this was hopefully just the one unfortunate thing that happened. So.
Yep. Thanks for your comments, Chris.
Yep.
Anything further? Okay, seeing none. Thanks again, Jamie. I appreciate the work that you do.
And thank you very much, everybody, and everyone have a nice evening.
Thanks. All right, so on to number 5, which is the minutes of the previous Port of Johnstown Committee meeting minutes, and there's a motion that will go on the floor, and that's that Port Management Committee receives and approves the minutes of the Port Management Committee meeting dated March 23rd, 2026 as presented, moved by Chris Ward and seconded by Councillor Waddy Smale. Any discussion on the minutes or errors and omissions? Just seeing head shaking. Everybody's good. So I'll call the vote then. All in favor? Good. Business arising from those minutes, if any? Seeing head shaking. So discussion items, none. We're on to action items, and item A will be the grain operations report. And Mike, that's to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll try to keep mine under 10 minutes as well. So the overall grain inventory ending for March was 39,379. Rail deliveries continue to be a struggle. We received 60 out of the forecasted 125 cars. So we took advantage of that time and we concentrated on bin sweeping and inspections. We did 84 bin entries this month and continued with our safety training. So with that 84 bin entries, I think that puts us at just shy of 300 confined space entries since the start of the year, which I will guarantee you no one does that many confined space entries around here. So as you can see in the graph, I mean, the inventory is providing us that opportunity to really do good inspections on our bins. So although it's very disappointing that we don't have the grain in the building, it is giving us time to do the things that we normally don't get a chance to do. So we received 873 metric tons of grain via truck, received 5,400 by rail, and we shipped out 9,256 back out on truck. Nothing new. We still just with the 2 learning events, and our labor for the month was 37,31 versus previous year 31,74. And we also got AAA on our inspection this month. And that's a very quick operations report for March.
Thanks, Mike. I'll look around for comments or questions. Frank, you're first. Just don't forget your mic, Frank.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Mike, last month we had one rail car which was attributable to some problems at CN. This month, 60 out of 125 in terms of forecast. What was the problem with rail this past month?
That's the $1 million question, to be honest with you, Frank. Everyone is very discouraged with being able to get corn delivered. I think it's maybe not so much to do with CN, but it's the volatility of the corn coming out of the U.S. right now. The pretty severe price fluctuations. I think they're looking at different avenues for shipping rather than shipping up into Canada. That's purely speculation, but it just kind of feels like that's what it is. I think that the bringing commodity in by rail is a struggle at best of times. It seems to be harder right now with the volatility that's going on in everywhere, really.
And Mike, just as a follow-up, what's the demand for that corn? Is it an ingredient is looking for the corn, and is their demand the same as it once was?
Well, certainly. I mean, the production doesn't stop because there's no volume. So, I mean, I think they're looking at other sources as well. It's certainly going to Ingredion and some other producers as well. I think that with the war in Iraq, the commodity prices have come up a bit, and the local corn that didn't seem to be there seems to be there now, which is what's quite interesting, where they're actually to find some local commodity now and kind of shying away from the rail commitment.
Okay, thank you.
We've had cars on order that are 3 months late, so it's not reliable.
Uh,
Thank you.
Anyone
Yep.
else up on the screen, Chris?
Yeah, no, I was sort of an echo along the same comments that Frank made, but I think he answered those really well. So the only thing I was going to say then on top of that is it's really good to see. I mean, you've done so many entries, what confined space entries this year, and still with the good safety record. So I mean, I know those are sort of precautionary adventures to go into there. So it's good to see that there's been no occurrences at all. So keep up the good work.
Certainly, I mean, that's nice that you noticed that, and it's certainly appreciated. The guys are very conscious of what they're doing, and they're doing a great job at it.
That's good, Chris. You're good. Steve, no. Randy, Regina, guys. Okay. I'm good as well. Maintenance report, 8B. Jeff, it's over to you.
Okay. Work in the maintenance department during the previous month included weekly, monthly, and quarterly dust system maintenance. The guys also installed 3 new rotary valves, A1, A2, and C systems. So the originals were put in 81. So this should make, I can't say a huge difference, but it will make it definitely an improvement on the functioning of the dust system. We'll be replacing the other 2 rotary valves once they arrive. We did empty bin maintenance of annex bins 5, 7, and 10, preparing for a belt and bucket change of number 4 lofter. This belt needs to be replaced. We will be installing the same existing buckets because they're still in good shape. But this is probably a 2-week project. It takes that long to get all the buckets off, the belt installed, and then buckets reinstalled. We did a lot of items from the work order log. In fact, I think we have most of the items checked off on it. So that'll be up to date. Adjusted alignment of annex lofter and gearbox. We cut urethane liner pieces and installed in number 3 lofter head, and we'll also be doing number 6 turn head. And actually, we did number 5 lofter head as well. Install access points on the bottom workhouse bin number 17 for easier clean out. Continue with GMP maintenance. Work in the electrical department include the following: troubleshoot, repair control circuit for annex reclaim conveyor. We had some issues there. We got that sorted out. Work with the mill rates as required. Something I should put here also is that quite often one of the mill rates works with my electrician as well. So it goes both ways, and it makes things easier. Replace solenoid for dust system fire damper B1. Conducted monthly premise inspection as per GMP requirements. Replace 0-speed switch of drag conveyor that feeds to annex bin number 10. And we installed new circuit board in the CGC office ductless split HVAC unit. And if there's one thing I could also say, and this goes to you, Steve, if there's one guy you could count on for reporting a problem, that's him sitting right over there. And that will be missed. It will be missed. And thank you, Steve.
Hey, thanks, Jeff. Questions on the maintenance report? Councillor Smale.
Thank you, Your Worship. To Jeff, just a curiosity question. How long do the buckets last on else.
The buckets typically last, we installed the first Tapco Blue buckets in 2015. Those buckets are still good. In fact, I think this is them. So previously they were a different quality of bucket, much cheaper, and you could get a couple years or something that could go through the lofter and you'd clean off 200 or 300 of them. But the buckets are good. They're expensive, but it's worth the extra money.
That's why we did the Bobcat. You get what you pay for.
Yep, exactly.
Further questions? Anyone on the maintenance report? Regina. Okay. All right. Move on to the capital budget, which will be a combination of Mike and Jeff, I think.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Did anybody have a chance to look at it, or does anybody want to go through it? But just to comment to what Mr. Mayor said earlier, I mean, I think we're way ahead of where we've ever been on getting our capital projects done at this time of year.
The only comment I have is that the numbers look good as they're coming in. Is there anything that you've had come in that needs to be noted or
Not yet.
not yet?
Yeah.
No.
Some of our summertime projects we're going to start bidding on now, so we'll certainly have more opportunity to discuss them. But I mean, as we stand right now, I mean,
Yeah, it's looking
very-
good. Looking good so far.
I mean, for me, it's very impressive to see where we're at.
Yep.
Maybe Jeff has a comment.
Something I could add is item number 8, dust system improvements. The scrapers and hood extensions are ordered. One of the hood extensions is here. I expect to see the scrapers very soon, but I've also set up AST, Air Separation Technologies, your dust system specialist we've had here before. They will be here Wednesday to do an inspection and make recommendations on the dust system as well. So
Good. Questions or comments on the budget as it is so far?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think, I mean, when I was looking at this, I mean, you know, I looked at it with the same lens that we just looked at from, with respect to the audit and how we're looking for the current financial, and I was trying to figure out if there's anything on this list that, you know, we would, you know, that's further in the year that you want to keep an eye on and say maybe we don't do it this year depending on how the summer's looking and things like that. So. And I was struggling to see anything. I mean, I think the desk system for the annex, while it's in Q4, I think that's an important one for us to do this year. So if anybody's got any ideas, I'd love to, you know, maybe not this meeting here, but see if there's anything out there that we think we might want to, you know, delay until we see what the results are looking like for the summer.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you through the chair. That's a really good point, Councillor Ward. I think that's something we can take back and have a debrief amongst our group and then bring back some ideas that we should at least have, you know, some items on standby that we might need to defer pending future financial reports.
Thank you very much for that. Yeah.
Anyone else? Good. All right. So we are on to financial first quarter investment in the traffic report. And Rhonda, I think that's over to you.
Thank you. So our revenues for March were 259,000. Our harbor services for the month were 37,000, which is an increase of 14 over last year due to the first steel pipe vessel coming in, which was unloaded between March 27th and the 30th. April will see an increase in rail revenue also for the same project as they get the rail shipped back out again. I think they were thinking 6 to 8 weeks or something. It would take them. Our storage still remains significantly lower, as you've seen in Mike's report, combined with our total throughput of grain being down by 25,000 for the month. It does continue to put us at a slower than what we'd hoped start to the year. We do hope to improve on it as we hope that the rail comes in over the next few months. And with the Seaway open now, we have potentially 6 salt boats lined up between April and May, a grain boat to arrive in May, and we're supposed to have a calcium chloride barge this weekend, I do believe. So hopefully that'll start turning things around. Our expenses were 552,000. Oh, I forgot the K there. Sorry, for 1,000. For the month, which is slightly higher than last year by 20,000. Our utilities continue to stay lower, which coincides with running less grain. Our materials and supplies and outside services do continue to stay higher due to getting that earlier start on some of the bigger purchases and projects. All this combined does have us at a lower start to the first quarter compared to our budget, but we're looking forward to things starting to turn around in the second quarter. So I've just done a quick breakdown of the first quarter and the differences. Something to note, our expenses, I know they look like 389,000 difference from budget. If you remove the grain loss adjustment that we have noted down in the bottom part, we're really sitting at about 113,000 different than budget. So it's not quite as bad, but of course that does go against our revenue also because one counteracts the other. But at least with our expenses, that's what we can control. So we're trying to control them as best we can. So there's the breakdown if you have any questions on that. I did accidentally forget to put the traffic report in the first month getting it again, but the only thing to note on it was the steel pipe project of 5,492 metric ton. Our first quarter investment, nothing has really changed. The interest rates have all stayed the same. Our RBC account has stayed the same. HISA has said that there'll be an increase to 2.825 as of April 1st. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, thanks, Rhonda. Looking up to the screen, questions on the reports, Chris? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the same comments, roughly, obviously you're keeping an eye on expenses, but obviously we're trending lower this year, but I think it's always so tricky in the first part of the year, right? So, I think just keeping your eye on what you're doing is good. So, but yeah, I mean, we don't want to have a repeat of last year, but I don't think I don't, to the mayor's point, the ground seems to be refreshed. I look at my farm and it's soaking wet out there. So, hopefully that's a good sign for the rest of the year for us. On the investments, I know we talked about we were going to have a discussion. I thought it was last quarter, but about do we do anything about that? And I'm not sure if it's, that there's just nothing out there that's beating our HISA rate right now or anything, but has that been looked at and is there a proposal coming?
Yep.
Thank you through the mayor.
I was going to say
yes.
something on,
Just
sorry.
waiting to see who's going to take it.
Yes, Councillor Ward, we have been reviewing and until recently, the interest rates haven't changed. They haven't really been worth bringing anything back yet, but it is something that we're monitoring closely. And now that Rhonda has had some movement on the HISA, then we hopefully will be able to connect with Frank and bring forward a recommendation in the next month or two.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Anyone else? No. So the big two things would be the write-off for the grain and the lack of material in the building, right? Yeah. Okay. Those are the two numbers. Okay. At what point do I move them? Is there a spot where I move a motion after them all? Okay. All right. So I believe we're on to general manager's report. So that's on to you, Leslie.
Sure. Thank you. So on the vein of just business development and having a slow first quarter, we are actively still trying to, come up with the different business opportunities, business ventures, and based on a lead from the deputy mayor after the H2O conference, we did finally have some conversation and some good news from Transport Canada with respect to the transportation of dangerous goods. So there is no obligation on the port's behalf with respect to permits or licensing. So we're hoping to take that avenue and with our stevedore just determine what options are available with respect to handling of different goods. So that's something that we're going to stay on. So thanks to the deputy mayor for that lead. At the last meeting, there was a request with respect to salt storage lease data and tonnage. So I have outlined the three different leases that we had. Thanks to Rhonda for compiling the information. And I've also included the terms for each lease. So as a reminder, Cargill is the only salt company that we do on an annual basis, and Compass and Windsor are on a longer term lease, and all have met their tonnage. So I'm not sure if there's any questions on that, but I did circulate that information as requested. Our staff continue to follow up closely with the health and safety program. And I just want to shout out to Jeff, Kevin, Justin, Tyler, and Mike for their ongoing commitments on a monthly basis with respect to inspections and meetings. Also, the staff did a great job on our GMP Plus recertification audit. So we had mentioned that at the last meeting. So the SGS, what do I call her? The auditor, yes, was on site on April 1st and was very impressed with the work that Sean and Jeff and the team had done. So this is an ongoing project. They do this on a monthly and annual basis, but it's a lot of work to prepare for the audit. So I just wanted to thank the staff and Mike for their work on that. Within the document here today, I have provided a quarterly strategic plan update. So everything is on track. We have 53 initiatives, 32 are on track. So I think we'll continue our momentum on that. And I've just kind of included a summary of things that we will be participating with the local industry in Earth Day, waste collection along County Road 2 this coming Wednesday. We're also participating with the township at the Spring Home Show in Prescott later this week. And I'll in early May participating with EOWC Advocacy Day at Queen's Park. So they've been a great support for us in dealing with the Great Lakes work and on the tariffs. So I'll leave it at that for now.
EOWC seems to have picked up on us, and they are really promoting us at any
Definitely.
opportunity they get. It's
Yep.
nice to hear that they're doing that work. Questions or comments regarding the GM's report? Seeing nothing. Frank?
And I had given Leslie a heads up that I'd ask this question, but Parrish and Heimbecker has opened a new grain handling and storage facility in Picton. That's just opened with the start of the Seaway this year. And I was curious as to what the impact that would have on our grain business, particularly with any sort of grain that we would have from the western part of our market. Is it now likely to go to Picton as opposed to come to Johnstown?
Thanks for the question, Frank, and appreciate the heads up. And since Mike answers this question pretty much now on a daily basis, he's kind of perfected his answer in discussions with P&H. So I'm going to turn the mic over to him.
So I've had this conversation a lot, Frank. I'm going to give you P&H's stance on it. They put the terminal in Picton. Things weren't exactly what they were looking for in Oshawa, so they were looking for an option for that Western Ontario grain. So you're right, but it's more west of that, even the stuff that maybe just around the Toronto area that has to get through Toronto to get to Hamilton. They're looking to get those elevators more opportunity to do turns. So it doesn't affect the program that they're running out of Johnstown. We may lose a slight bit of stuff to the west, so we may lose some of it. But overall, I don't think it's going to have very much effect on what we do here. And why I say that now, that was P&H's pitch. But when I look at it geographically, I had the opportunity to do the South Dundas Crop Improvement General Meeting this month. And we talked about this a lot down there, and a lot of the farmers down there say, why would I drive to Picton when I can turn 5 loads out of Johnstown? So, I mean, they greatly appreciated having the port, and we're big supporters of it. So I think that as long as we continue to do the job that we can do, it will not affect anyone trying to drive to deliver, certainly with the restricted hours that they're allowed to drive now and the fuel costs. I mean, I don't think it's going to hurt us at all, Frank.
And just as a follow-up, we're an open port. Anyone can store grain at our facility. Given that's owned by Parrish and Heimbecker, will the grain in Picton only be grain that's actually been contracted by Parrish and Heimbecker?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Before we move on, Mr.
Yep.
Mayor, can I just, I think some of why some of the questions were raised on the onset, and Mike helped me better understand this, is they were posting a lot of pictures, and there was some grumblings about the grain currently being stored in Winchester being trucked to Picton, and Mike alluded to the fact that they needed to fill the terminal in Picton for one of their final inspections. So that was true. The grain was being trucked from Winchester to Picton at that time, but that was for their final inspection and audit. So I don't think on a normal basis that would be happening, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on that.
No, that's exactly right. They in order to get their final stamp for their building, it had to be filled for 6 months, and they had to measure the expansion contraction of the concrete. So they were having a hard time finding beans in the area. So they had some in storage at their own facility in Winchester, which they did move up. And it's, I mean, if I can tell you anything, information flows very fast through the trucker pipeline. I hope that puts your mind at ease, Frank. That's what I keep telling myself every night. So I'm going to go with it.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate the update.
Mhm. All right. So if there's no further questions, we are at a point where there is a motion, and the motion reads that the Port Management Committee received and reviewed items 8A, Grain Operations Report, B, Maintenance Report, C, Capital Budget Report, D, Financial First Quarter, Investment Traffic Report, and E, General Manager Report as presented. I need a mover for those. Moved by Councillor Smale, seconded by Councillor Ward. No further discussion. All in favor? Good. All right. So we're on to F, which is 2025 audited financial statements. Rhonda, that's with you.
Thank you. Do you need me to read through the whole thing or just the
No, I don't think so.
recommendations? Yeah, so the recommendation is that the Port Management Committee receives, reviews, and approves the audit report on the Port of Johnstown financial statements as provided by NMP, and that the Port Management Committee recommends that council receives and approves the 2025 financial statements provided by MNP for the port.
Okay, so that would be the motion. I need a mover for the motion. Councillor Mertel, I keep wanting to call you something else. Seconded by Councillor Smale. Okay, discussion on the audited financial statements. Is there discussion at this point, or did we have it all with Jamie when Jamie was here? Anybody have anything else? No. Okay, then I will call the question at this point. Then all in favor? Good, carries. And I think we are down to the Fraser House part. Yeah. Gonna shorten that, eh? All right. So I'm gonna leave the motion off the table first. Normally we would move it and have the discussion, but I have no idea how this will go. So I'll look to you to present. Okay.
Sure, thank you. So earlier this year, back last fall, council supported the option to allow what are they called? The Granville County Historical Society to proceed with working with Parks Canada and see if they could determine a heritage designation. They came back to us early in January saying that they weren't comfortable at that point proceeding with the MOU with us on the basis that if there's no ability for them to obtain historical designation, then they don't want to proceed. They just don't have the manpower to do that. So as they further got into the designation process, they realized that part of the application, they needed a formal resolution. So had we known that, that would have been included as part of the previous report. But based on, they have shared with me the application and the requirements of the council resolution. So the resolution or the recommendation that's proposed this evening keeps in line with exactly the motion that was approved by this committee and council last fall. It doesn't commit us or the board. It just basically is allowing them to proceed with that application for designation, and that there would be no costs associated to the port at this time, and they would further come back to us that if the designation is approved, we would proceed with the MOU at that time.
Okay, thank you. Discussion? Councillor Martel?
Just through you, Mr. Mayor, to the GM. Is there any danger here that when it becomes a historical site that all of a sudden we're not allowed to move it?
No, we've been in contact with our insurer along the way during these discussions, just make sure that there was no obligation or liability or risk associated with the port in allowing this. And the answer to this point is no. Yeah.
Councillor Smell? No? Randy? Randy, you look like you're interested.
Not to really get involved, I don't understand, but I don't know if did that answer the question the way, like you with our insurer, but is there an obligation is it from the government to say it's a historical site and it has to stay up?
Sorry. No, that's no, I forget the gentleman's name. Is it Fraser?
Yes.
Lassinger.
Yes.
Lassinger.
Okay,
Yeah.
no. So he has been very cautious because he knows our stance on this and the options, and has shared with the Historical Society the draft MOU, the council report, and our insurers comment. So they too don't want to get into a point, because their whole premise is that they want to move it, and they've been forthcoming with the ministry on that and Parks Canada, that the intent is if it's designated heritage, they want it moved down to the closer to the windmill site.
Okay, looking up on the screen. Hey, you guys switch spots. You guys change rooms?
I'm now in Florida.
Chris, you moved to the bottom right where that's where Steve was originally. So
All
looks
right. I like that space anyways. It's all good.
yeah. You're better suited actually now with Steve on the left and you on the right. But
Perfect. There you
all
go.
good squares, yeah. Okay,
I don't
so
Mr. Mayor, sorry, Mr. Mayor. I think I just want to echo the same concern everybody else has, and like we want to support this, but I'm worried that unless they really clearly put something into our, if we do make a resolution that it's clearly stated that, with intent that it is moving to a site closer to something like the windmill site, or something, like being really specific, because otherwise I'm kind of afraid we could get ourselves inadvertently backed into that corner we were trying to avoid, and that we want to do as best we can for the house, but we don't want to be all of a sudden having a heritage property that the port has to now maintain, right? So
do you have suggestions for the changing of the wording, Chris?
well, let's see here.
I think we all share the exact same concern that it requires relocation, not just pursuing it, but requiring it.
Yeah. Let's see here. Relocation. If it says relocation there, and that
Pursuing the preservation, restoration, and requires the relocation.
yeah, that's good.
I was wondering as well, before we, as part of the requirement when we share this resolution, if it's approved, that the port have an opportunity to review the submission prior, in advance of it formally being submitted.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea to make sure that it's very clear that it requires the, what we want, but we're gonna have to figure out where to, that's two, looking at my clerk now, because I think that's two change, I haven't moved it and seconded it yet.
Through the chair, it's not on the table
Good
yet.
for me.
No.
Yay, good for me. No, don't move it yet. Don't move it
No.
yet. Let's finish doctoring it then first. Yes, go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, if we could change the wording from historic site to the Fraser House as a building or a house of national historic significance, so it takes away from the site and puts the focus on the building itself. Because once we say site, we're talking about the site where it sits, correct?
Yeah.
Good catch, Joe. As a building of national historic significance? Is that the suggestion? Change site to building?
Building.
Accurate, right? We're talking about the building.
Okay. Leslie, did you want to say what your part was so that I can read it when I read this thing? You're
I
adding
was
a
like, I
sentence.
just looked at Rebecca because I'm like, what did I say
Frank,
again?
did you have your hand up? I just saw a hand move up there when I looked up quick, but I wasn't sure if it was you or not.
No, I'm fine, thank you.
Okay. Did you add a sentence?
Yes, and that like a following, and that a copy, and that. What did I say?
Was it, and then a copy of the application be submitted?
Chris, can you shut your mic off?
Oh, sorry.
Thank
Oh,
you.
he's. So Rebecca's suggesting that after the final word application at the end, and that the port requires review of the application prior to submission.
Is it review of the application before the submission or
Yeah,
review of the
'cause we did-
report? Review of the application before submission?
Yeah.
Okay. Further changes? Anyone? Okay, I'm going to read it. So the motion reads that the Port Management Committee recommend that council acknowledges the Fraser House located on lands owned by the Township of Edwardsburg Cardinal and the Port of Johnstown is not required for the port's foreseeable development plans. There's only one plan there. And that council recognizes the interest of the Grenville County Historical Society in pursuing the preservation, restoration, and requires the relocation of the Fraser House, and that council supports the Grenville County Historical Society's application to the Historical Sites and Monuments Board of Canada for the designation of Fraser House as a building of national historic significance, and that this resolution of support is provided for the purpose of the designation application only and does not commit the township or the Port of Johnstown to any financial contribution or future obligations to the project, and that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to the Grenville County Historical Society in support of their application, and the Port of Johnstown also requires a review of the application before its submission. C'est bon? Okay, mover please. Moved by Councillor Smale, seconded by Councillor Martel. Further discussion? Okay, hearing none, then I'll call the question. All in favor? Did you guys vote? I didn't see your hands. Yes, you're good? Oh, you moved it. I suppose you should be. All right, so it's unanimous. Okay, approval of the disbursements. That Council of the Township of Edwardsburg Cardinal approves the payment of the port invoices circulated and numbered as follows. Withdrawals total $166,955.60 for a total of $166,955.60. Batch 9 checks totaling $5,884.01. Batch 8 total of electronic transfers totaling $138,279.09 for a total of $144,163.10, for an overall total of direct withdrawal and batch listings of $311,118.70. I need a mover for the disbursements. Councillor Smale, I need a seconder for that. Chris Ward, is there discussion on the disbursements at all? Okay, I just see head shaking, so I'll call the question. All in favor? Good. Carries. Councillor inquiries and notices of motion. Does anyone have an inquiry or a notice of motion? Seeing a bunch of head noddings. Chair's report, there is no report. Question period. Steven, any questions? No? Steve Williams is online. Steve, you got any questions? Just kidding. And so that is it for this part. We do have a closed session for council for a council matter. So Councillor Martel, you do have the motion to proceed into closed.
I do. Thank you, Your Worship. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Waddy Smail. The committee proceeds into closed session at 7:40 p.m. in order to address a matter pertaining to Section 239 2B, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, specifically personal matter, identifiable individual, township workplace investigation.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Councillor Martel. And I will call or is there discussion about going into closed before we go into closed? Okay, seeing no comments or questions, I'll call the question. All in favor? Okay, so we'll take just a very quick, 5-10 minute break to clear the chamber and have only the relevant staff in the room. So we'll be back in 5 minutes or so.
See you in person next month, everybody. And Steve and Chris, hopefully you're both feeling better soon.
Looking forward to seeing you, Frank.
Yeah, thanks, Frank.
Thanks,
Okay.
Frank. Talk to you later.
Bye now.
Yeah.
You go around and there's like harder. Whenever he looks like that, I can't see any color on him. He looks like a shadow. I want to see where the generator was, so I found it. Yeah. It's so random. Anyways, somehow I found it over here. I found it over here. It's there. It's right there.
One more reading.
It's one of the I've been riding the ride. Oh, is that? Can you go on the ride? Are you done?
No,
Oh, yeah.
got one more closed session.
How's it going?
Well, I got the port meeting done. I got that closed session.
Oh, you haven't done this?
No,
Oh. And where are you? Okay, right here. Oh, you're right there. We should the other way. Right, I would have done that.
Steve, I'm about to do a invite to a breakout room, okay?
I got you. You see me?
Yeah. So do you see that I've assigned you a breakout room?
Nope. I just got the whole
There you
screen there.
go.
Join breakout room. So you want me
Yes.
to
So
join?
join that. Yeah, join that.
Can we play the Jeopardy music?
Probably should have told Steve to press that button.
Boom, boom. I have to do it again?
You got 2 minutes on.
Put me back in the room, Rebecca. I'll go bring it back if you want.
Are we live? I'll wait till we're live.
I wonder.
Steve left it out.
Okay, so we're live and Steve's back and we're good to go. All right. Reminding everybody we are live again and back. And Councillor Martel, I think you have a motion to end the closed meeting and to bring us back into open.
I do, Your Worship, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Waddy Smail, that the closed meeting of the committee does now adjourn and the open meeting does now resume at 8:58 p.m.
Okay, I'll call the motion or call the question to return to open session. All in favor? Okay, we are back in open. So committee met in closed session in order to address a matter pertaining to section 239 2B personnel matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, specifically personal matter, identifiable individual, township workplace investigation. And direction was provided to the CAO. Okay. The next motion is for adjournment, and it is that committee does now adjourn at 8:59 p.m. I need a mover. Moved by Councillor Smail,
moved.
seconded by Councillor Ward. All in favor? We are
Yes.
adjourned. Good meeting.
Night.
Good night, everyone.
Night. Thank you very much. Yeah.
There